Welcome everyone to another episode of Hazard Times Double Feature, where I'm going to be talking about two movies that I happened to find on rummage sales and that I watched. So up first, we had On the Line, and the other movie that I'm going to be talking about today is Targets. So up first, unfortunately, is, again, On the Line. I suppose this is the NSYNC movie because it stars Lance Bass, who I've never heard of before, but I assume he's a member of NSYNC, and Joey Fatone, who is also probably a member of NSYNC. Because I don't really know, because I always get NSYNC mixed up with Backstreet Boys. Like, for the life of me, I couldn't tell you who was in what band, and if these two, and I know Justin Timberlake is in NSYNC too, I assume, because he's in this movie towards the very end. So the fact that those three people I know of are in NSYNC, I couldn't tell you anybody from Backstreet Boys. Like, for the life of me, I couldn't gun to my head. And I feel like there's a fourth member of NSYNC too, and I have no clue what his name is. Don't really care. I'll probably never find out, hopefully. So yeah, I'm talking about this movie. It's just basically just the NSYNC movie, and this movie was really extremely bad. It was just really, really bad. It was boring, cliche, predictable, and just bad and dumb. It's basically the plot. Lance Bass plays some who cares advertisement marketing person for Reebok. You meet some girl at the train and they fall in love because they can both list all the U.S. presidents in order, and they like the Cubs, I think. She makes paper airplanes. I don't know. Apparently they're soulmates. I don't know. And he doesn't get her name or her number, so he starts making. So he makes like a personal ad in the paper to try and find this girl. And shit happens, and none of it's you care about at all. And the movie honestly almost gets worse as it goes on, because I remember the last 10-15 minutes of this movie just not ending. It's just so bad and dragging on so long. I was really just like hands to my head, rocking back and forth, just wanting to break something because this movie wasn't ending, because this movie was still going on. It's not like it had multiple endings. It's just, it had an ending, but it just took forever to get to the ending, and it wasn't even forever. It was only 80 minutes long, the movie. Jerry Stiller is in it, and he's just, I think at this point he just plays himself at any movie he's in, which is, fine. He's not doing much. A lot of stuff about the Cubs. Again, this is like the second movie in a row. Well, actually, it's back to back. I've watched two back-to-back movies where baseball is heavily featured in it. I guess this was back in the day when baseball was still a thing that people cared about. Now it's football. People only care about football nowadays. No one cares about baseball anymore. People used to care about baseball a lot. They called it America's pastime. Now no one gives a shit about baseball. There's music in this too, which doesn't help at all. It's bad enough that your movie has bad writing, bad acting, bad directing, but you gotta subject me to your bad music as well. It's just not fair. God, I hope there isn't a musical in one of these movies that I'm gonna watch. And they're not good. They're not even good like singers on their own. Like, I guess that's why Justin Timberlake is the only one who found any success on his own, because these two, Bass and Fatone, when they were singing, it was like just themselves and no auto tune. But I don't think auto tune was around back then. Auto tune. they're not good. I mean, which band is accepted to be better? Is it NSYNC or is it Backstreet Boys? Which one is generally regarded to be better? I don't know. I feel like Backstreet Boys are more famous. Is there a Backstreet Boys movie out there? But, yeah. Just not good at all. Actually, really quite bad. Made the list of my least favorite movies of all time. You know, that's a long list. I got about 40 movies on there. You could actually see the list if you check out my Letterboxd. Go to, I don't know what it is, letterboxd.com/hazardtime. I think that's where it is. You'll find that list. It's a sad, long list that feels like it's growing every day. Up next, I have Targets, starring Boris Karloff. And this was actually a good movie. It was fine. There's nothing wrong with it, really. I guess it's just an odd thing to see, because you don't usually expect to see Boris Karloff in like a late 60s color movie. You know, when you think Boris Karloff, you really think, 30s, 40s horror movies with Bela Lugosi in it. That's really what you're expecting. So this was just an odd thing to see, but it was a fine movie. Boris Karloff plays an aging actor who wants to retire, probably very much like Boris Karloff at the time of making this movie. He probably didn't even really want to be in this at all. I saw that he was only in it because he owed something to somebody or had a contract or something like that. That's how they got 60 different people in movie 43, and they just called in a bunch of chips they had to bring a bunch of people into a shit movie. But Targets. Yeah, Boris Karloff plays an actor who wants to retire, and that's pretty much his story. He just wants to retire, and that's about it. And then on the other side, there's a second story going on, where this normal-looking dude comes back from Vietnam. I must have missed that, because I just saw that it said he was from Vietnam. I must have missed where it said he was from Vietnam. And he's just buying a lot of guns and keeping them in his trunk. And then he just randomly decides to start killing people. They don't really, explain the motivation, or you don't see, a snap. It's just, he's just kind of yep, here I go killing now. So he starts by murdering his wife and his mom and, the delivery boy who just shows up randomly, which, And he's, a messy killer, too. Which I thought was odd, because at one point he goes up to a oil. It's basically a water tower, but not a water tower. It's something to do with oil or gas. So he goes up there with a whole bunch of guns. He has 2 sniper rifles, a double-barreled shotgun, 7 handguns, and he goes up there. He lays everything neatly out, and then he pulls out the sniper rifle and just starts shooting people in their cars while they drive by in the freeway, right? So eventually cops start getting alerted to what the heck's going on, and he starts to leave. And when he leaves, a gun, one of his revolvers falls off the thing, and they make a point of showing it fall and landing in water. And he doesn't go to get it. He picks up some of his guns and puts them in a bag, but he leaves a significant amount of guns behind. He leaves 3 or 4 pistols behind on top of the oil water tank thing. And then he's running away, and he climbs over a wall, and then he runs down a hill or something, and then he trips, and another handgun falls out of his bag. And I thought oh, he's leaving a breadcrumb, and the cops are going to track him down, but no. He was just, it's never brought up again, all those guns he left behind. He's just really messy. I feel like they had a lot of prop guns, and they wanted to show that he had a lot of guns, but they couldn't actually use the guns because only like 3 of the guns were functional. So like, oh, we'll just leave them around. So at the end of the movie, people don't question why he didn't use that gun. So at the end of the movie, he goes to a drive-in to, he like gets inside the drive-in thing, which, and like, there's like a hole in the screen, like a tiny hole, and he puts a sniper in there and he starts picking people off sitting in their cars watching the movie. Which they would hear that. And it just so happens that the movie playing at the drive-in, the sniper is killing people. That is Boris Karloff's character's most recent movie. And Boris Karloff is there, he's making a special appearance. So, you don't need to see this movie. I've told you pretty much everything. And he starts shooting, the sniper starts shooting people. Eventually Boris Karloff finds out what's going on, so he just like walks to where the sniper is, and the sniper gets disoriented because he sees Boris Karloff walking towards him, and then he turns around and he sees Boris Karloff on the screen, so he's like, what the hell's going on? Which I feel like you should be able to know, figure it out, dude. And then Boris Karloff just knocks his gun down with the cane and just slaps him around a couple times. It really just slaps him. Like, it's not like a punch or, a knee to the groin. No, he just bitch slaps him a couple times. And then the guy curls on the ground and starts crying. And then the movie ends. He does the speech about the appointment in Samara thing. That I always liked that story. There's been a couple movies or TV shows I've seen that have mentioned that speech, so that's nice. But yeah, it was a fine movie. There was nothing wrong with it. I've seen a lot worse, very recently on the line. But yeah, I don't hear people I haven't heard people talk about it. I wonder if it's kind of like forgotten or whatever, which happens sometimes. Movies just kind of get forgotten or left in the wayside. But yeah, it was decent. I would actually recommend it to other people, which isn't something that I say about most of the movies that I see. But yeah, anyway, that's gonna be it. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I guess, yeah, I will see you next time.